Welcome. My name is Dr. John Bush. This is The Process. This is a special lesson. This is specifically me discussing my draft landscape for the late June PPR rankings here, using a little different way to video here instead of PowerPoint. We'll see how this works here. But I recently put an article out defining some general processes, and one of them was draft landscapes. And this is something I use if I'm getting close to a draft. I want to create a draft landscape and look under the conditions that I'll be drafting under: one quarterback, PPR, Superflex, I don't know, whatever it is. Okay. So I try to then use ADPs to fix and establish positions per pick, what is being picked on average in a sequential kind of drafting series, right? I mean, there's no such thing as an average draft, but we have to have some idea. And my experience with my draft landscape is it's a pretty good tool to get a feel for how people will be behaving under any kind of condition. This is PPR here. And you can use current ADP. Fantasy Football Calculator has them. There's sites that have multiple ADPs from different, places. You can combine those. However you want to do that's fine. I've done both. At this time in late June, things are still flexible, and it's, clarity is not here yet. So anybody that claims they have clarity, it's not true. Okay, nobody has clarity, right? So I'm just using it as a way to predict potential runs of positions, where these positions kind of break between tiers if you consider the first 12 running backs, wide receivers, the second 12, etc. And you get an idea about draft flow. And if you have a strategy that you want to employ, zero RB, heavy RB, late QB, early QB, I don't know, whatever strategies you may have, zero WR or heavy WR, whatever it is going on. This is a way to at least figure out where you're going with that strategy. I kind of just go with value. And if I've got some extreme draft positions, I do kind of shift things. In other words, if I draft towards the end these days, instead of having the 8th RB, I definitely will consider going towards wide receivers, or, tight end in a tight end premium, that kind of thing. So it depends on what has been dealt to me in a random way. And so I'm going to go through my figures. This is going to be an article up on the Science of Fantasy Football.com, and we may talk about it down the road in podcasts. But I wanted to actually try to record this way as well. And anyway, so this is going to be my article. And so the first figure is here, and it is a complete draft landscape. Each orange circle represents the average pick, ADP, and I have listed wide receivers, tight ends, running backs, quarterbacks, defense, and kickers from the first pick to pick 216. So was that about 16 drafts or 16 rounds, something like that. So, and the bottom is in 12ths, so kind of draft rounds here. It's a little bit harder, and you can see below there rounds 1 to 4. So I'm going to blow up these blocks of floor here so we'll have a better view per round. But I like to look at the grand scale and see, especially, for instance, where tight ends are coming. Kelsey is coming about the end of round 1. Okay, then people like Andrews is closer to the end of round 2, that kind of thing. Then you got Pitts and Waller, and I don't know who the 5th one is, but whoever that is. And then there's a little gap in about pick 60. You have another block here, 60 to 96. So you've got about 5 more tight ends picked. And then there's actually a gap here, so you can actually have a gap here, and there's a gap here. So you can kind of see the spread of tight ends. So if you want Kelsey, got to have him, you're going to have to use a draft, round 1 pick. You might get lucky if you're on the turn. He may be there, pick 13, 14, but most likely he's not, but could be. So anyway, and then the first quarterback is Allen, and he's between round 1 and 2. So if you got to have him, you're going to spend a round 2 pick. And then Herbert and Mahomes are closer to middle round 2, start of round 3. Then you got a gap. And then you have a block of 3, a little bit of a gap, then 5, a block, and 4, 5 more. So if you can wait and you do late quarterbacks, you can get a QB1 quarterback here closer to the 96th pick, somewhere in here, if you're satisfied with that, right? If you're a big defensive player and you love your defenses, probably 10 picks in, they're going to start grabbing them, okay? The first 6 are going, then there's a big block for the next 6. So it looks like the first 6 are a premium. So again, if you've scoped out a defense and it's in the top 6, you're going to have to make a little bit maybe more premature. If you're willing to wait, you can wait, closer to the between the 180th and the 192nd pick. Kickers start about 144 or so, so people start going crazy over kickers. I'm a late kicker person. But anyway, you got a sense of kind of the flow here, right? So you need to kind of think about runs and gaps and these kind of things and kind of what's going on coming up. The reason I like to know is because I don't like to be at the end of a wide receiver run. I would rather be at the start of it or in the middle at least, but not on the end. And maybe I want to flip and do the opposite of what people are doing in a run, right? So you need to kind of make some landmarks about rounds. What am I thinking about? So you've got to have some ideas about how you want to pursue your draft. You just can't, just kind of let it go, because all of a sudden you're going to wake up and say, oh man, my quarterback's gone. If it's your quarterback in quotes, then, you need to understand where they're kind of going and what could be gone here. So you need to have some plans. And if you're doing a fast draft especially, this can go quick and you could start getting out of kilter. And if you miss your person, which, I don't do it that way, but some people do, then, if you miss that, I would be concerned you'll get off your game and make some other poor decisions. So use a draft landscape, use planning, and then why don't you join a draft. And I like slow drafts, so I have plenty of time to go and look and consider, okay, the next couple rounds, what should be happening, what's gone on before, what should be happening. It's nice to kind of know that a little bit versus, you're kind of surprised. The ground falls out from under you. So where did this come from? Well, you could kind of, get ahead of the game a little bit. So I urge you to do that and use Draft Landscape as a way to do it. And you're certainly welcome, to read my article here. So here's draft 1 to 4. So what's happening? And you see we're coming in, and what I've done is I've noted the beginning of the next block of 12 of that position with a yellow square, and I have a number above it, an arrow. So that means that almost to end of round 2, you're starting the next 12 RBs. So RB2s are starting to go here. Okay. Wide receivers, RB2s are going, look like about 37, 38. So you will be able to have some time to grab a second wide receiver, right? I mean, I could see where you could do an RB and maybe even get 2 RBs. Could be, and then a wide receiver 1 kind of late, because that you can see that's even 24 to 36, you still got some of your wide receiver 1 types. They're at the end, right? But they're there. And then, after 36, so your 4th pick could be a wide receiver. So you could play an RB, WR, WR. And that's kind of what people might be doing here. In fact, if you just count the numbers here, it's definitely most people are going RB. And then the next people are either grabbing a WR, RB, or a few people are taking tight ends or the first quarterback. So it's not clear what's happening in the second round. The third round, though, they're definitely, looks like they're trying to grab RBs here. A little bit more than wide receivers. There's 5 here, almost 6, close, and then 4 here. So it's a little balanced back to the RB. So it looks like RB something, RB, and then it's pretty clear people by the 4th round are trying to jump for the WRs. So WRs are very clear here. Everybody's picking their second one, starting to pick after in the 4th round here. Everybody's picking the first. So people's teams coming out of the 48th pick are going to be an RB1 and certainly a WR2 type. Now, whether they've grabbed another RB or 2 WRs and, do an RB, wide receiver, wide receiver, wide receiver, probably it's going to, the way I would probably suspect it would be RB, maybe RB, WR, WR. But it could be something like that. So it's it's not clear. It's not like it's, everybody's doing this, but there's going to be a trend and a tendency here. So you need to be prepared. If you want an early tight end, the top 5, you're going to have to make your move in here. Okay, so you can't have your cake and eat it too. If you want the top 3 quarterbacks, you're going to have to make your move in these first 4 rounds. So don't be surprised. Well, maybe they'll last to round 5 or 6. I don't think so. Okay, they're probably not doing it. So don't make plans for hopes and wishes. Assume that this is pretty close and make plans accordingly. Right. If Allen falls to the, second round, 3rd round, hey, then there you go. Okay. Then, you maybe got a gift there, right? So, okay. rounds 5 to 8. So right now, first thing that I see when I look at this, look at the WR3s are starting and WR4s are starting by the end of the 8th round. So people are starting to get wide receiver heavy in these blocks here. Look at the RB3s. They're not, really picking those up too much. So people at this point, they realize, oh, I need some WRs, so they're going for them here. So there's going to be a WR run from about 60 to 96. There's going to be a run, folks. This is what a run's starting to look like about right here. Okay, right here. That's a run. Very few RBs, are picked. Maybe at the end, the run's kind of dying out. And notice at the same time, quarterbacks are starting to go. So again, tight ends are still, you can still grab a late tight end one type, and a quarterback one late one is still available in these 8 picks. But it looks to me like WRs, are going to be hot and heavy in these rounds here. So if you're playing that, saying, yeah, that's when I'm going to get my WRs, then you need to start doing research on these particular ones that are falling in these rounds and trying to make picks about who you're grabbing at that point. Why are you grabbing them here? Don't be just waiting, you're on the clock. Oh my God, what am I doing? You should already have planned. Here's your first big run here. And you need to understand what you're doing. And it could be you're taking an RB3. Okay, that's a plan. A WR3, and I'm going to grab an RB3. That's fine. Are you grabbing a quarterback, tight end, or are you still waiting? You just need some idea. Okay, this is not the time to be guessing and fiddling around. You don't want to be picking up WRs way late in the run, okay? Unless they're who you want, right? I'll just have to settle. A draft, you should not have to settle. You should have some picks, and you should be able to land some, right? I mean, you may not get all of them, but if you kind of anticipate things using landscapes, you more likely than not will, kind of have your plan, and then you go work it, and it's going to work out more times than not. Okay. But remember, most people are just kind of bobbling around and, oh, well, what's up next in the ADP? Okay, I'll grab that one. So some of the public leagues, yes, I understand if you're playing in professionals and the hardcore sharks, okay, it's probably going to be different. But if you're playing in the regular public, ESPN stuff, people don't know what they're doing. So you should know what you're doing, right? You don't want to beat the sucker at the table. Make them the sucker at the table. Okay. Rounds 9 to 12, what's going on here? Well, what I see is the RBs are catching up. 4 and 5 are starting. So now you're getting, especially look at this round here. What is this? 108 to 120. Look at this run of RBs right in here. These 4s are getting chewed up quick. And this round here, everybody is picking different things. There's even some defenses going here. Your tight end ones are gone by this round. Your WR5s are starting right here. And then there's a run of WRs right in here. So again, look at what's happening. Decide how you want to proceed. In other words, if you've got to have your 4th RB, don't wait to here. Don't wait to pick up, say, these 3 or 4. Pick them up here before it's too late, right? But again, you just need to decide, do you like this one? Or do you, man, this is my pick, this one. Well, don't wait till that point. Pick them up here. Anticipate a big run. Okay, that's 9 to 12. So again, you need to study this a little bit because I don't have time to tell you everything here. Here's rounds 13 to 16. Your 6s are going here. Your RB6s are gear, so they're almost caught up with each other. Your defenses are going. There's a big gap in this range. No defenses are taken. QBs are still, we must have started QB 2 somewhere, huh? No? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Did I make a mistake? Oh, here it is. So I'm sorry, I was asleep. So way back here was your QB2 started there. So if you want a quarterback, if you're waiting, there's, if you like any of these 4, then you'll probably be able to pick them at your leisure. There's no big runs here that I can see. Maybe a tight end here. That's a lot of tight ends right here, right? And defenses and kickers here. That's a little premature for me, but it looks like tight ends are running in here. So again, make sure you understand what's going on there. So anyway, that's kind of my 10-cent take on the draft round landscape. I've got some other things on material that I use in setting up my rankings as well. I've got some uncertainty analysis, some overlay analysis, some team strengths, things that are coming. Then I'm going to get into positional and then team-based rankings. So I've got a couple more articles that are going to be this whole box of things happening here. So come back. Thanks for listening. We're having lots of fun. Woo woo. It's allergy time. Take care.